Oh, here's my studio. You want to see what an art studio looks like? What's up? Yeah, I made these. Aren't these cute? These little spiders. And then they have a little string. They're weaving their little lace web. I have them in bags just to protect them from dust and all that kind of stuff. I just got done making these. I cut out all these decorative leather pieces. Put them in there. These are little ornaments I made. They're hot air balloons. And then they're little thimbles. These were fun to do. Here's a little butterfly thing I made. So this is the reality of an art studio. A little bit chaotic, but I know where everything is. Here's a bunch of supplies. Here's all my pencils, my colored pencils. This is all a bunch of tapes and whatnot. Over here is all my fabric. This is my fabric kind of area. I have an old vintage buffet thing that I keep some more of my supplies and whatnots in. All different kind of things. Those 3 different grabs there. All those leather pieces I got. This is all my kind of scrap material I've already used. This is all material. These are all my garlands I made that I'll be selling. So I hang all those there right now. This is a whole tub full of yarns, different kinds of yarns. Here's all the scrunchies I'm making. There is those eggs I used. So there's one like in the process. Here's some more just felt that I have on hand. Just in case I need it. I make these little felt bags like these. And they have a little drawstring and you can close them. There's the rolls of fabric I got at Goodwill from my capes. And this is a whole bag of fleece, which I kind of think they were, oops, that one's leftovers, but I think they're like airline blankets or something like that. So those are all washed, and I lined up some capes with those. So, quick trip around the studio. I know what I'll do. I'll do a cape, let's do a cape fashion show. Cape fashion show coming up. I'll show you everything I've done. I think I have 17 done now. Okay, here we are. I have all the capes out. And here comes our fashion show. I'm just gonna move this camera down a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. All right, so first, check out the fabric on this cape. Isn't this so cool? So all of my capes, the insides have different panels. And I like it because part of my branding is pulling the cape open and there's your bat wings. The purpose of my capes is to show that all of the fabric that I use for the capes, I have gotten at a thrift store. And so this is all stuff that, and then most of it is at the bins at Goodwill, where it's like last ditch effort to try to reuse this. And so I like finding things that people have deemed are garbage, unworthy, and redoing it, remaking it into something else. So all of the capes have the little decorative piping along the collar. So let's start looking at them. All right. Here's the first one. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 I've done so far. Now let's bring this down here so it's easier to see. Here's my next one. It's got a solid green floral back to it. With this neat, it kind of reminded me of a basket. I liked that. And then I found this super sweet fabric. So at the thrift store, and especially at like Goodwill bins, a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people tend to maybe like clean out grandma's sewing room and that kind of stuff. And so I find all sorts of really cool vintage stuff, old fabrics, all that kind of stuff. And I had some of this pink lace, and so I decided to play around with lace, and I think it turned out really cute. So that's that one. Next, this is that material off that big bolt that I showed you earlier. It has a big black button on it and black elastic. I got some black elastic now. And it's all lined, all the panels are the same fabric inside on this one. And this is a thicker kind of upholstery type fabric. And it's super beautiful. This one was kind of a challenge I gave to myself. So this was actually a sheer curtain, but I loved the pattern on it. And so, if it's like kind of hard to see, there is a beige kind of fabric with diagonal lines that kind of go back and forth. So I just did kind of multi-layers on it to give it this neat sheen. I love it. It's kind of, it reminds me maybe of a wedding cape or something like that. And then inside is lined with this really neat fabric. So I decided to give myself a challenge with that sheer curtain, and it turned out so cool. This one I had an elephant tapestry, and I turned it into a panel for this cool cape. And then it has that cute little button. And I like how the bottom has that little detail. So that's what's fun about these capes too, is they have a little surprise inside. This is my capelet. This is a little bit shorter. And this is a teacher's capelet. So I had this cool teacher's fabric that I found. And then I lined it in all this fun fabric. And then it has the fun collar on it. And a neat red button. So if my teacher walked in with this, I think I'd be pretty pumped. I know a lot of elementary school teachers love participating in like superhero day and those kind of things. This is a pretty one. It has little white doves. And then a vineyard might mean something. All of a sudden I see a wine vineyard. And then it's lined in these neat fabrics. And then the whole back is the little doves. This one is more of a spring cape. It's this neat pastel fabric, this vintage pastel fabric that I found. And then I played around with these different ginghams on the inside. And then a mother of pearl type button. Next, oh, the back of the rack is getting a little back heavy. Next is this one. This is pretty interesting too. I found all these neat green fabrics. And this was an old vintage linen blanket that was in excellent condition. So I get all this fabric, I take it home, I immediately wash it, then I starch it and iron it, and then I fold it up. You saw it all folded up, waiting for me to get inspired or have another piece of fabric found that will work. So this green one is pretty neat. It's got that big button on it. This is another curtain. And then this is lined with those fleece blankets that I showed you. It's really warm. And it has a really neat, distinguished look to it. I like that. And then that's an old vintage button, probably off a coat, something like that. This one is a winter cape, very royal. It has this thick, this was a old vintage blanket I found, and this thick paisley pattern, and it's super warm and cozy. And so this is for when you're going out in winter, but you gotta dress up, but it's freaking cold out. And then it has that old brass button on here. See, it's fun to get all these random, that's the cool part about the projects I give myself too, is it's more fun to be, it's kind of like, maybe like an Iron Chef thing, like what's in the basket? This is the material you have to use. This is what the thrift store had. And so you come up with really interesting, cool combinations when it's like that. So it just goes to show how you can make cool stuff out of nothing. You really can, if you take the time and have the patience. These were cool. I played around with the concept of pleats. And so this has the pink back, the blue shoulders with the curtain kind of look, which is, these are curtain valances that I repurposed. And then the front in pink, and then it's lined in this real nice soft gray. So this one's really cute on too. I like to give myself little challenges and shake it up a bit. So this is the peacock. This was an old vintage blanket that I just completely repurposed. And then the blanket was lined in this velvet. And this velvet is so soft and so rich. And so I just separated the blanket, salvaged the back, repurposed the whole design, broke a couple needles through all these beads and all of that. Added a collar off that big bolt of fabric that I have. And there's the peacock, darling. Next, here's another one with that fabric off that bolt. It has a different kind of inside though. It's lined in the pink. Another big button on it. Next is this flannel fabric that I got. I have had a whole bunch of this. It's a kind of a nice heavyweight flannel, and it has this patchwork look to it, and I thought that was really neat. And I lined this in that warm, fuzzy blanket. So this is another winter one. And then finally, I have 2 rain slickers. So this is a waterproof material. Can you guess what it was? Shower curtain? You're right! And then I lined it in this super cool fabric. Popped a little button on it. Yeah, look how cute you would look out in the rain in this. And then finally, the last rain slicker. In this one, I used an old vintage vinyl tablecloth that is very thick and very well made. And so I decided to cut it up and turn it into a rain slicker. And this was the edge of the tablecloth. But you can see how thick that tablecloth is. And then I lined it all in the pink. And then it has the pink piping all on it. So that's part of my project. My mission is to show everybody you can make cool stuff out of stuff nobody deems as cool. All right, there's the fashion show. Peace out. Love ya. Start creating things.